Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Creepest Deepest. It's me, your all-the-time talking this way host, Anthony, using the voice I'm always talking in. All the time. Just talking like this. Now, today's show...
I'm sorry, so today's Creepo Depot, woo! We're gonna be talking about Digimon. We got some lovely people on here, some magnificent people, and a person I didn't even think was gonna be on here. This is literally just a 2-second ago thing. So just going around, let's tell me who you are, and then tell me about your favorite Digimon and who it is. Let's start with the guy right here.
You lied to me. You said this was a Pokemon talk. This is illegal.
Not after. We're gonna hold back on a Pokemon talk after the last time we'd had one.
Shadow, and I've been a Digimon fan ever since the original show back in, I think it was, what year did that come out? 90?
I want to say 98 or something.
Yeah, I think it was 98, 99. My favorite Digimon, unfortunately, is kind of vanilla. It's Angemon. I know that's the favorite Digimon of a lot. I will say my favorite Digimon after Angemon is probably Leomon.
Yeah, he's always cool. Always having a good time. All right, what about you, our wonderful guest, who actually has an Agumon with her today?
Hi, I'm Vanessa. Oh my god, I can't talk today. I'm also of Saya Wings on Tumblr, and I'm a huge Digimon fan. Been a fan since in my childhood days, and my favorite Digimon has to be Garamon because I love her so much, and I'm a cat person, so.
And our other guest right next to her.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm the wife of Vanessa, who just spoke. I'm most commonly on Twitter, I suppose, under the Crimson Speed, and I was into Digimon a little bit when I was younger, but I didn't have a whole lot of access to it, so it's more in my recent years where Vanessa really got me deep into it, and I think my favorite season would be the Tamer season, but my favorite Digimon, I always liked Vmon.
Yeah, he's real cool. And our special guest.
Hi, I'm Renee, and I've always been a fan of Digimon since I was little as well, too. I've watched it from the very beginning, and my favorite Digimon is Wargreymon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
My favorite is Tentomon and all his forms. He's just absolutely magnificent. I love him. He's such a good boy. And he can fly. I love him a lot. That's something I always just remember. There was that one time that Agumon and Gabumon are just talking about how cool they are. Oh man, that was so cool what you did. Well, that was really cool what you did. And then Tentomon's just over there. Well, you know what? I can fly, so screw you both.
Also, how dare you use the American name, you stinking gaijin.
American name for what?
Garamon.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, it's Tailmon, right?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm just so used to the
To be
dub.
fair,
I love the
to be
dub.
fair,
We've all watched the American version first.
Yeah.
don't
act like that.
I know. I'm just having fun.
We all. I didn't even watch. I did not even watch Digimon in Japanese until I was in my last year of high school, and someone was like, "Hey, I brought the Digimon movie. Let's watch it in not English." And I was like, "What?
There's a not English
Wait,
version?
it's
That
not
exists?
English?
That exists?" And then I realized that cuss. I know that Tai cusses a bit more in that, and I was like, "Well, I guess that does make sense. I mean, his computer just broke, so you know."
I mean, that's actually kind of a good question. Would you say Digimon, for anybody here, was kind of the first anime you watched where you realized it was an anime, or did you kind of not realize that until down the line?
Not really for me. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Was probably the first one for me where I was just that's not normal cartoons.
I think Digimon for me was more in a mix between anime and cartoonish, because sometimes I would think it wasn't a cartoon, and then other times I think it was just more anime-ish, but it was really drawing to me in the story and the characters, and I just loved the whole series in general.
Yeah, I think for me, watching Digimon, I didn't really, as a kid, felt like it did a good job of I shouldn't say hide Japanese culture, but kind of like show you just the show and stuff like that. Because when you see them like mention certain things or eat certain things, you're just like, okay, no, like I eat that, or like, oh no, I've done that as a kid as well too. They didn't really, kind of like how when Pokemon, when you see them eat the
rice ball.
the rice balls,
The donuts.
they call it a jelly donut.
I was gonna bring that up too.
I think Digimon, I obviously didn't realize it was an anime, but I do think it was one of those first shows that didn't try to hide it as much as something like Pokemon, because they really didn't change a lot of the names, and even the ones that they did, they really just shortened a lot of them. Like in the Japanese, Kari was called Hikari. They just took off the H-I, and Tai was called Tai Chi. So.
Tai Chi, yeah.
I actually thought that was really clever how they did that, like how all the names they're close enough to the Japanese names. Personally, I didn't even, I think when I was around the age when I was watching Pokemon and Digimon, I didn't really kind of internalize that this is like a cartoon from a different culture. I just was like, this is cartoons. Mm-hmm. And then like the rice ball thing to me was just always just like, all right, that's just how it is. I guess that's how it is in Pokemon. I think it wasn't until like junior high when like I really kind of understood the definition of what like constitutes an anime, and I didn't even probably consider those like one of my first anime. It's just a cartoon I watched. So
I just one last thing. I think I really kind of realized something was off when they went to the real world and you saw them like actually in Japan, even though they didn't say it's like, oh, it's called Odaiba, and it's just like, okay, that doesn't sound like an American city. I don't get why it's called that, but I think that was kind of that first real, you realize, okay, this doesn't seem American the way that you're used to it.
Yeah. But yeah, that first series was that was a lot of fun, and I think they did just a really bang up job watching it, making it, and like even now I remember when I first got Netflix and they had Digimon on Netflix, the first thing I remember doing was I looked up the episode where Joe was working at the restaurant.
Oh yeah.
Because for some reason that was the one episode that eluded me in the original series, because I watched nearly every episode, but I remember there was always like, I always watched the one after that one, and the one before that one, but I just never saw that one. I was like, okay, I'm gonna find out what happened with Joe in that restaurant and what was going on there.
I always found that episode really weird, because it's just like, let me get this straight. You don't know where your friends are. They could possibly be in danger, and you're just sitting here working off a food bill at a restaurant. Just like, priorities, man.
Yeah, no.
That's how Joe is, though. That's actually something I really like about the whole cast too. It's like they have a very large cast and they're very diverse, and the show did a very good job, like kind of like giving like everybody like enough time to shine, enough time to like understand why they are the way they are, and they really flesh out why two characters are so different. Like if you look at Joe and Izzy on just the surface, you're like, oh, those are the two nerd characters. That sounds like a bad idea. Why would you have two characters who are smart and like nerdy, when in reality they're two completely different people?
Yeah,
Right.
It was very well. It was handled so well.
I think for Digimon, for me, I think it was so different from Pokemon, because with Pokemon, they got to train and get their little monster pocket monsters, but with Digimon, that's like their partner, like their best friend, and you got to see them develop and grow as characters, because you see them from the beginning and then towards the end they change tremendously, and it's like really you connect with these characters and you just get really invested in what's going on in their world. And I think the episode that really got me, like, it was so weird, was the one where Tai went back and he saw Kari, and it was so a different vibe going on there, and we realized his life there, and it was just a trippy episode for me.
Do we want to get into because it came out a couple of months ago, the interview that came out about that episode and the kind of weird, I don't want to say controversy, but behind the scenes of that episode?
I don't think I've heard of that.
No.
Well, apparently because that episode always stood out as one of the weirder ones.
Yeah.
Just in the way it was directed. The director did an interview, and he said that episode was kind of meant to be a bit of an analogy of basically the way he set it up was Tai was like the office worker, Hikari was the wife, and basically the controversy that kind of came out was it was kind of revealed that like Hikari actually, apparently in that episode it was meant to be hinted that Hikari actually did have feelings for Tai that went beyond brotherly love. And but the thing is, it was a case of Hikari was too young to understand that the difference between family love and regular love, and Tai was supposed to come across as like he understood that Hikari had those like kind of wrong feelings, but he didn't reciprocate them. He kind of just found them weird, but went along with them just because she was young.
Okay, maybe I should change it to the one with Mimi singing then.
Yeah, with the
never
frogs and
mind.
stuff. Thanks for ruining her favorite episode.
I know.
Well, I mean, it was a big thing that kind of blew up on the internet when the interview came out a while ago.
That's
Blew our
kind
minds
of
right now.
Yeah.
that's kind of adding context where it doesn't really need context.
Yeah,
that's
I will
so
admit
true.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I didn't have a lot of access to Digimon when I was younger. I was always intrigued by it. Whenever I'd go to my cousin's house, he had all the toys and all the VHS tapes, and I'd consume as much as I could. But I think the reason why are we talking specifically about the first season? Or
Just anything.
just
Just
anything?
we're just shooting about what we like about this series.
So I think the reason why Tamers is my favorite season, like at this point, is because I did watch it older in life. I think I can, like, I love the first season, and the second season is a guilty pleasure of mine. I know it's terrible, but it's like a train wreck that you can't like look away from. You have to keep watching it until the end. But I like Tamers a lot. The characters seem really grounded, and it was the first one where you could tell, okay, yeah, this isn't like an American cartoon. This is 100% Japan. They're not hiding anything anymore. They're straight up saying, oh, this is Japan. And I don't know, just the connection between like the Digimon and their tamers, and I don't know, I'm just kind of gibbering on at this point.
It's fine, man. It's fine.
I don't know, it connected with me more, I guess, than the first two seasons, and that was kind of the point where it's just like, okay, kind of roped me in.
You're welcome.
Well, was it I guess I should just build this. Josh is not actually from here. He's from Canada. So was it mostly just like a Canadian thing where like they didn't air, where like...
Oh, no. I mean, it was more a personal life thing.
Oh, okay,
that I didn't have access to. I won't go further than that.
Okay,
but-
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know that like some cartoons you guys didn't get, and some cartoons like we didn't get.
Oh, we absolutely got like Pokemon and Digimon.
Okay. Because like it was like on channel like 11 for us, and I was just like, oh man, I hate.
Oh, the Fox box.
Fox Kids.
Yeah.
Because we got the New York Fox channel, so we got.
Oh, okay.
all
And you
the
had
stuff
Teletoon too.
Yeah, we had Teletoon and YTV and
Yeah.
all that fun stuff.
I will always have a soft spot for the 01 series due to the nostalgia. But I do think that kind of judging it based on merits, I think, and a lot of people agree, Tamers is like the best of the Digimon series. It's better in the writing, it's better in the pacing, the story. It's the darkest and most mature thing. The one thing I think the 01 series actually does better is character development, and I think that is because the 01 series, you are dealing with a cast of 8 characters plus their Digimon, and they all get equal character development, whereas the Tamer series has a lot less characters to develop. It has 3 protagonists, plus if you want to throw in Jerry, that's about 4. There's a couple other kids, but they really don't do anything. Like Rio comes in and he really doesn't do anything.
He's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Just kind of hanging out in the back drinking a soda.
And one thing I realized is, for as good of a job as Tamers does do with the character development of the characters it does develop, it actually stifles itself because it's trying to be grounded in that you really don't get a lot of moments where characters are allowed to emote. And the biggest example I can give is because two of the main characters are meant to be those down-to-earth kind of cold characters, Rika and Henry, so they don't really get to emote very much. And a good example is Matt versus Henry. You have two characters who are meant to be the Lancers, are meant to be kind of the down-to-earth compared to the hot-headed goggle wearers,
Right.
and they both have siblings. And both of them have a moment where the sibling runs off, and Henry is still... He does that thing where he's trying to keep his emotions down, try not to get overly emotional, whereas Matt, he is still that same down-to-earth character, but when TK goes missing, he snaps and he's ready to fight.
It's a much bigger deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the 01 series does a better job when it comes to developing such a large cast and giving them those more emotional high moments.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
For me, I love the 01 series as well too. It's obviously because it's the first one, but I think the one that I like, actually, I'm quite the opposite. I do enjoy Tamers. It's good. But I think when I first watched Tamers, the first few episodes didn't grab me because of the main character and his Digimon. I forgot their name.
Takato
Takato
and
and
Guillemon.
Yeah.
Guillemon, because Guillemon was cute, but I think the way he talked kind of threw me off. Yeah. But I didn't really watch it thoroughly until maybe the last 15 to 10 episodes, because that's when it got really good, when
Yeah.
it was like they were taking down that darkness and stuff like that.
That's when it got Eldritch Abomination.
Yeah. And it was really good, and that's why I was like, oh, okay, I see where people liked it. But for me, I liked Frontier. Digimon Frontier. I think that's
I
a
haven't
very
watched that one yet.
Yeah, I think I dropped off around Tamers, so yeah.
It's a very underrated show.
It is.
because-
It has one of the best opening themes of Digimon.
So good, yeah. I think because the concept was really cool, where it's like kids can turn into Digimon, and I'm like, and I like superheroes as well too. So I'm like, that's awesome, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I get to
It
become
was-
a Digimon.
It was
and
very
stuff.
Super Sentai in a
Yeah,
way.
definitely. So because there's a human form that you can transform into, then there's a beast form, and they introduce that and stuff. Certain character arcs were really good as well. I think one was when you find out the identity of Duskmon.
Yeah.
That was really sad too when
Yeah.
you find that out and stuff like that. So it was really good and very emotional at the same time. So I like Frontier more.
Yeah, I do like Frontier. I didn't watch Frontier, but I actually did think it was like a cool idea that they become it, because
Yeah.
it was always kind of a little awkward how like in the first two they just kind of, the kids are just kind of on the side.
Yeah.
They just stand
Right.
there.
Yeah, they're just kind of standing there drinking their soda while
Yeah.
their Digimon's like
Give them
getting all
some
beat.
pom-poms and cheerleaders.
Yeah.
It's really, in the 01 series, it's really not until Tai steps up that really any of the kids get to do anything, because at least Tai at that point kind of gets to act like the general, where he's ordering not just the kids but also the Digimon in battle. Frontier, unfortunately, because it strayed from the Digimon and their partner,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
the formula. Yeah.
it got a bad rap with a lot of people who were just like,
Which
this
I
is just Super
understand.
Sen.
Yeah.
I'll say the only problem Frontier has is in its pacing near the end, because they just keep fighting the two Royal Knights and keep getting their butt kicked over and over
No,
and over.
that's true. It did get prolonged, and I did get pissed off as a kid watching that arc, and you're just like, what the? And this is like, just defeat him already, you know? Like,
Because I lost track of how many times they got their butt kicked
oh
in
my
that.
god, it was so many. It was like 10 episodes of just that. It was weird.
And then
Yeah.
the other problem it has is that when you get to the higher evolutions, the other kids become completely worthless because
That's true. No, yeah.
of that whole fusion thing. So it's like those other kids that you followed and have been kind of interesting, it's like they literally can't do anything at all.
I always kind of felt bad about everyone else that wasn't Tai or Matt. They're just like sitting on the sides.
That's
and
true. Yeah.
Everyone else gets like, everyone else. They're the only ones who get Mega, and everyone's
Yeah.
just like, well, I guess we just chill on the side.
I mean, there is times where the kids actually do try to fight off the
Yeah.
villains.
Yeah, I mean,
they like
they-
get up there, they start getting the sticks and hit them or
Yeah.
something that they do
Distraction.
try.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there is times where they don't step in, because I can understand, because they're kids, they're
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
scared. So like, you know, so I guess I connected with them because they felt like kids. So
That's a problem, not just in Fusion. I would say that's also a big problem in the O2 series because you have such a big level gap in there.
Basically, Davis and Ken are the only useful people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
At least in the 01 series, the others all got up to Ultimate, and so it could at least, try to help while Ty and Matt went Mega.
Yeah. That was something I really hated about the second one, just because I liked Cody a lot and I liked Armadillomon. He didn't get any better.
Yeah.
And I remember when I got older, I was like, you guys ever been on the Digimon wiki?
No.
No, I haven't.
If you ever
Somewhat. I've searched different Digimon and various stuff.
never go on there because it's like the craziest rabbit hole when it comes to just when you just look up their Digivolutions.
Oh yeah, I've seen that rabbit hole.
It's basically because it'll just say Agumon can turn into this, and you're like, well, what does that look
It's
like?
like
Well, that's
he's
it.
got 5 different evolutions.
And you're looking,
wow.
what does that look like? What does that look like? Oh, what does that turn into? And it's just it just keeps going and going and going.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remember I was like, oh man, I bet in the games and all the extended media, Armadillomon, I bet he has a really cool
Yeah,
evolution.
I bet he goes all the way to Mega and has 5 different Mega forms. It's just
no,
Oh, poor
it's
guy.
just champion.
I mean, being a fan of
unless you-
Vmon, I kind of got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Vmon
definitely.
does go up to having a Mega form. So does Stingmon.
Yeah.
But Armadillomon and I think also Aquilamon both kind of got the short stick.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed too that the celestial Digimon don't stop. They keep going,
Yeah.
Was it Angelmon goes into Mega Angelmon, then goes into Safarimon, and it's just-
Seraphimon.
Seraphimon, yeah, and it keeps going. I'm just like, what the hell?
I really like the idea of Safarimon, instead of just being angelic, he's dressed like a Colonel Mustard looking guy. He has a safari hat and a musket.
My
Tell you how
favorite.
chops.
Yeah. My favorite of those celestial Digimon that Angemon can go into is what's known as Slash Angemon. He basically looks like Archangel from X-Men.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
He's got the metal wings and he's much darker and it's just goddamn.
One of my favorite memories regarding Digimon was I remember watching the Digimon movie in theaters, and I saw it with my father and my friend Mark at the time, and I think there was a couple other kids with us. It was a scouting thing or whatever, or we were just hanging out. And I remember my dad was dead asleep. My dad did not care. He was just this is my chance to get a nap. And then I remember there was that one part where crap, I can't remember. It was in the third part with the O2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, that. Ugh.
The way they
editing,
edited
yeah.
that.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, right?
the editing on that was horrible.
Let me finish.
No, go
okay,
ahead.
Okay, so crap, I can't remember what's the name of the Digimon. He has the machine gun arms.
Gallantmon.
Yeah. Okay, so you have Gallantmon, and he's shooting at the bad guy, and they're running around on the cliffs, and it looks all cool. And I remember my dad, he just kind of wakes up a little bit. He's and he said, and he goes okay, so what's going on? I'm oh, he's just trying to get him. And he's like, which one's the good one? Which one's the bad one? I'm oh, that one's I point at Gallantmon. I was oh, that one's the good one. And my dad's the one with the gun hands is the good one, and the one that's running for its life is the bad. And then he was just whatever. He just went back to sleep. I love the first 2 parts. I love the first parts of that movie so much. I could probably go and rewatch them if I wanted to.
I think everybody has just that mind blown moment when they watch the Omnimon fight.
Oh,
Right.
the our War
So
Games is so good.
Oh.
Just every time, Omnimon, just that moment is so cool, and it's so just when I think about it, I just get so nostalgic over it. I know that there's $70 or $80 Omnimon figurines, but that moment was so cool that my brain is just bro, you gotta remember when he stabbed the dude and then the clock was right there. And I'm oh no.
I know, because it was so sad because I was in the theater and that moment when Ty and Matt's Digimon, they're just right there and they got all messed up. I hear all these kids next to me no, oh my god, and then you feel so hopeless, oh my god. But then when they start morphing into it, you hear the music build up and then they reveal it. You're just oh my god, like as a kid, wow.
It was the coolest thing.
Even as an adult, that's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm shocked you guys were able to see it in theaters. So I saw when that movie was coming out. I told my parents like, nope, too weird. Nope, not going. They're just like, I was like, oh. So I had to wait till VHS to see that.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So I was watching it at my house. I was like, what? I'm just saying it out loud in the living room all by myself, just like Omnimon. And they go like, my dad goes, what happened? He goes like, War Greymon, and Metal Garurumon just formed into one. What? He's all like,
that was always the hardest thing as a kid, having to explain this shit to your parents.
yeah.
Why does you mean the one with the gun hands?
The Omnimon fight, I would say, is one of those moments where if you are a Digimon fan, you have to find and watch the Japanese version, because the music in the Japanese version is one thing I will always give the Japanese version, at least all of the 01 stuff. The music in the Japanese version is phenomenal compared to the American butt rock. Like, I love the butt rock soundtrack. I freaking have it on my iPod.
I love the Digimon movie soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's on my Spotify account. It's my workout routine.
It's like I love the music. I love listening to it in the car, but it takes away from the scenes versus the music in the original Japanese, where it's like you have this almost orchestra soundtrack going on in the background.
Yeah.
I have, like I said earlier, I did watch it in Japanese, and it is really good as well. I think I'd have to watch them back to back, which I probably should, because that scene is just really good.
I mean, I would say the scenes with the biggest difference are those battles, because in the American they added, the rock and roll music anytime there was a battle, whereas in the Japanese you have more of an orchestral soundtrack to go with the battles and the big moments. So I would say that is the biggest difference between the American and Japanese. Is a lot of the fights and just the tone of the fights due to the shift in the music.
Right.
Yeah.
I still like the part where they play Funk Soul Brother when when Kokomon is just terrorizing the house.
And then they have the Digimon rap in the beginning, and they're all rapping to it. Like,
I'm glad they brought that back for the Thai movie.
yeah.
Yeah. But outside of the shows, you guys want to talk about like your experiences with the games? I know, Nessa, you only played like one of them, right?
I only played the first one where they keep pooping evereverywhere. With
Yeah,
little
I
yogurt poops. Like,
yeah, I played that for that was, I think, Digimon World 1. I played that one for maybe like 4 hours, and as a stupid kid I didn't read anything, so I was just mashing through all the tutorials and I didn't understand what the heck was going on. I just knew that like my Agumon was always hungry, and he was always angry, and he was always pooping. Then he became that poop Digimon, and then he ate his own poop, and I was like, well, this makes things easier.
Did anybody have the Tamagotchi way back?
with the Digivice?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
I used to
Digivice
have
Tamagotchi.
I used to have Davis or what's his other name?
Ken?
Oh no, Davis is his Japanese name.
Oh,
Daisuke?
Daisuke, yeah.
I used to have his, and I had Vmon, and I used to take care of him and all that stuff. But he didn't last that long. I love him though. I'll always think about
Yeah,
him.
my cousin had a bunch of those, but like I said, I had limited access. He had, I think he had one from each of the first 3 seasons. He had the Agumon one, then he had the Vmon one, then he had the Guilmon one.
Tamagotchis were always such a pain. Like, I remember, this will always, like, whenever I think about Tamagotchis, this is the thing that always comes to mind. I used to have, like, Tamagotchi Angel, and it was, like, he, like, turns into little angel forms and stuff like that. I remember, the first one I had, like, I tried to take care of him the best I could. I was always there. If he made a beep, I took care of it. And he didn't get past, like, level 2. And then the second egg, I was like, you know what? I don't care, whatever. And I like neglected it, and I was a jerk. And it got to like level 4 or 5, and I was like, what the heck? How did this happen?
Bad parenting pays.
I was like, yeah, apparently. So the moral of the story is don't take care of your kids, and they'll take care of themselves.
Wow, dang.
But I played a lot of, also, I remember playing a lot of Digimon World 2, which was really weird, because, like...
It was like a dungeon crawler.
Yeah,
and you were in like
yeah.
a tank.
Yeah, and you would get, like, little upgrades for your tanks and stuff, and like catching Digimon was like kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I don't remember ever getting that far in that one.
I remember getting Wargreymon, like you can catch him early or something, but
So it was Digimon World of Tanks.
yeah, well,
Basically, it was like a dungeon crawler where you only had a certain amount of steps you could take in each
Oh,
dungeon.
that was so annoying.
so-
Yeah, basically, like, they were like, you can't just go into the Digimon world, you have to go and ride in this machine.
You
and
can't
then-
have fun. What do you think you were buying, a video game?
Yeah, and all the levels looked all the same, and the graphics were all awful, and...
My favorite one from the PS1 ones was Digimon World 3. It was more of a traditional RPG.
Yeah, they kept, what was that like? I remember, like, seeing, like, the trailer for it, and it looked cool, but I never got into it.
It was probably the one I put the most time into. It's, in the overworld, it was 2D sprites.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of neat because you went to this game, basically, and then think kind of Sword Art Online, that kind of stuff, well before Sword Art Online was even a thing. It was kind of like that, like you're trapped in the game, you're trying to figure out what's going on, how to get out.
Dot hack.
Dot hack is a much better example, thank you.
Yeah.
I love dot hack. But and then it's just you pick a team of 3 Digimon, and then you just kind of go around. I think I had like gym bosses. It was Pokemon Digimon,
Okay.
basically, and I really enjoyed that.
I didn't play really any of the Digimon games until the DS, so I got into them way later. I played Digimon Sun, and then I emulated Dust to see the differences. And, you know, it was very much that Pokemon Red, Blue thing where there wasn't much differences, but it was a good game. It was a very traditional RPG. Like you mentioned, you have 3 Digimon, you can catch a whole bunch of others and raise them and switch out who's on your party and get them to all their different forms. It was a good game, and it was, I think, I haven't played, but I do think it was very similar to the, oh crap, what are the new ones?
Cyber Sleuth?
Cyber Sleuth. I do think it was pretty close to the Cyber Sleuth games in terms of how it went. It wasn't as 3D open world, it was more top-down perspective.
Right.
But it was a good game, and I think that's actually one of the things that hurt the Digimon games early on was I think a lot of people were confused about the fact that there were different games that were all different styles, so there wasn't really any kind of consistency.
Right.
Like if you notice, like Nessa and I, when we talk about World 1, it's like, oh, it's like you're like running
It's a
around.
Tomogachi.
Yeah, it's a Tomogachi.
Yeah.
You're running around eating its own poop. And then like in World 2, you're suddenly you're in a dungeon crawler moving slowly and being annoyed at how everything looks the same and it's all gross and it's ugly and I hate it.
And then World 3 is more of a traditional RPG.
Yeah, so they had problems kind of like getting down what...
And then I guess there was a 4th one that was like a Diablo-like game. I never played it, but always saw it, and I was just like, I don't know, maybe I should play it, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah,
I always walked away.
I think since the DS games, they kind of figured out the way to go with the Digimon games in terms of just being straight traditional RPGs, but where you have a lot of Digimon that can make up your party.
Yeah. Josh and I, we've both played Cyber Sleuth, and,
Right.
And you've played Cyber Sleuth too. I haven't gotten into that because I only
Well,
played
technically, Hacker's Memory is
Oh, okay.
called 2, but it's 2.
Yeah. But I really should get back and play that game, but I don't know where that is.
The only thing is, at least for because I haven't finished Hacker's Memory, I've only finished the first Cyber Sleuth. They did a really bad job translating that game.
Yeah, actually, it's really funny how bad they translate it. It's because my best friend, he got me into Cyber Sleuth. He like kicked down my door and he was like, "Brah, you can get Tentomon and he could be a Hercules Kabuterimon." I was like, "You sold me." And but the thing is, if you play as the girl character, at least in the first Cyber Sleuth, they don't really change the dialogue at all. So it seems so it's really funny because it just seems like you're this like really cool lesbian who like all the chicks are hitting on.
And it's not a mistake, they're just being progressive.
And then they translate it weird too, where there'll be points where it's supposed to be giving you an option like say this, and it's literally just a continuation of the first sentence. So it's like, well, I guess I'll pick the top one.
Yeah, it's the translation's a little weird, but I actually did really like Cyber Sleuth a lot.
Oh, the gameplay was top notch.
Oh yeah. And I did. The only thing is that I would probably say it's a little weird for me is that they really. You know how I said earlier how if you go on the wiki, it's like Agumon turns into 5 things.
Right, that game is that, basically. It's the Digimon wiki in game form.
Yeah.
So was Sun and Moon. They did that same thing.
Yeah.
And then in order to digivolve to some, you have to de-digivolve so you can gain higher levels.
Yeah, that was kind of annoying. But it was still cool.
I did enjoy that game.
It was a little heartbreaking, though, to have, like, your Wormmon, and you're just like, I'm going to turn him into Stingmon, and he's going to get bigger and better. And then you realize that he can't turn into Stingmon, because, like, by max level, his speed won't be a high enough level for him to turn into Stingmon.
So you got to de-digivolve him, grind him up some more,
Yeah.
re-digivolve him.
No, you have to turn him into that owl Digimon, because that owl has, like, crazy speed, and then you have to turn him into something else that de-evolve him into an owl, and then he can finally be Stingmon from an owl, and you're like...
It's a game in and of itself, just trying to get the Digimon that you want.
Yeah, Sun wasn't that bad when it came to the evolution branch. It was usually just, you had to get him into Mega, and then go back to Ultimate, and then to go to the different Mega.
Oh, yeah, but Cyber Sleuth, it is just constant back and forth. It
was hilarious. There was a day where I was just doing that the whole day because I wanted specific Digimon, and then Vanessa would be watching me, like, off and on. She would be half paying attention, and then she'd look and she's like, wait, didn't you already evolve him to that?
I was so confused with what's going on.
And then I just started, just don't worry about it. I'll tell you when to look. 3 hours later.
I was trying to get, what's her name? I think it's Lilithmon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was trying to get Lilithmon. I legit just had 3 ultimates that were just like, one of you is going to get the right stats to go and evolve, and then you're going to just be my gal. You're going to be my gal.
The other 2 are going to get turned into plant food.
Yeah, pretty much. The thing I actually really did like about it, though, is your party is based on, like, data. And I thought that was a really neat idea to do it. Okay, so, like, imagine for a second your party is like a USB memory card that has, like, 8 gigs.
Right.
And a Mega takes up, like, 6 gigs.
You had to, like, micromanage it until you leveled up. Or
Yeah.
in the game.
So, like, if you want a Mega on your team, that's cool. You could have a Mega. It's just that your other party members, they're going to be rookies. Because we don't got enough space on the memory card to go and do that. And I actually really loved that they did the follow feature, and the follow feature was real good. The only thing is, it was just like sometimes they'd clip on the things, or sometimes the animation would be a little weird.
Or when you got to the point that I got where I had the 3 Megas in my party, and they all just took up the entire screen because they were so big.
See, they do that so that they can upscale you on the bigger memory cards.
But and the story was really interesting too. It like had these like anomalies and stuff like that.
Right. It reminded me a lot of we were talking about Dot Hack. It reminded me of Ida a lot from Dot Hack G.
Oh yeah.
And I like that. I like how vague the story is at first, and then you learn more about oh, these kids went to the digital world when they were younger, and then they didn't remember it, and it was a pretty good game.
What you played it on the PS4, right?
I played it on the PS4.
Yeah, I was playing it on the Vita, which I think is probably the better way to do it, just because like you are doing all those micromanaging things, so it's easier just to do it on your bed and just be like, okay, I'm just gonna go grind them up in the tube for a while, and then go and de-evolve, evolve them into something else.
Right.
It was, though I know that we've complained about that a lot, but they actually do a really good job showing you, like...
They explain it very thoroughly, and it's very easy to understand. It's not... You would think the way we're describing it, it's like a cumbersome, like a load of menus. Oh, we gotta go here. It's very simplified. It's very easy to understand.
Yeah, if I can understand it, don't worry. I definitely check it out, try it. If you can get it on Vita, I think Vita's probably the best way to play it. The only thing I probably would say don't like about it is that they have exclusive Agumons that they have
the Thai costume and
and you don't, and if you evolve them at all,
you lose it.
Yeah, and you're just like,
She's like, okay, that's cool that you gave me that, but I gotta stick them in this box here, never to use them again.
Yeah, they're just like your trophies. You're just like, you just stay over here. I can't touch you.
Speaking on the games, I just remembered there is a Digimon game that I've always wanted to play, but unfortunately it never got translated. It's freaking Japanese only. It's on the PSP. It is actually a retelling of
The first Digimon.
the
world.
first
I
Digimon
think I know what you're
series.
talking about.
But you basically you play as all the different kids and their Digimon, and it kind of I think it goes episodic, and like each episode you're playing as a different
Oh, you're
kid.
talking about that adventure one, huh?
Yeah, it's Digimon Adventure 1,
Right.
and it's I think it is an RPG, but it's an RPG adventure where you switch and play as all the kids, and it goes through the old ones. And it's like, always wanted to play that, but it's freaking Japanese only.
That actually
it never
sounds.
got
That
translated.
actually sounds really cool.
Yeah.
From the screenshots
I'm-
and videos I shot, it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I need to look up and see if the fan translation was ever finished.
Okay, I want to go and play the part where you have to play Cooking Mama as Joe, and you have to.
I'm sure that episode is in there.
You have to go and start cooking in the kitchen.
There's one other Digimon game that Vanessa and we didn't spend a whole lot of time on because it's basically just Digimon World 1 again. It's the Digimon World Next Order. I think that's what it's called. It's a sequel to the original Digimon World. And the main character from that is in it too, and he's older and he has like a machine drum on. That's not who you play as. And then you get two Digimon you gotta take care of.
Yeah.
And they both poop.
And they both poop.
Yeah,
and-
they do.
But they cut out the part where you actually see them like going onto the toilet.
Oh, okay.
They just like do like a phase in, phase out. But which is probably for the better. But I don't know. We didn't spend too much time on that one, but that is there. And then they have that visual novel looking
Oh, the one
strategy
that-
RPG
yeah.
one coming out. Digimon Survive, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I think there's 2 Digimon games in development right now. One is like the Digimon World games, and one is like the RPGs.
Right.
I should just focus on Cyber Sleuth. That was really good.
Or just another Digimon story. I like that they kind of segmented it where I would kind of consider Digimon World 3 like a Digimon story game more than a Digimon World game. So I kind of like they have World is the Tomogachi one, story is
Well, I
like
think-
the RPG.
Yeah, I think they've split the series into 2 different series where you've got the ones that are like World, where it's like the Digimon follow you around Tamagotchi style, and then you've got the ones that are like Cyber Sleuth, where it's the more traditional RPG ones.
Right.
Yeah. Also, I forgot. Man, I wish I should have did research because I remember there's something about the artist who made Cyber Sleuth. There was something about him. Oh.
He did
The character designer is just the
character designer did those Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor games.
I think so, something like that.
And then the composer for the music did the Danganronpa games.
Oh, okay. I actually just picked up the first one on the cheap because it was like $9, and I was like, yeah, I'll pay that.
Can I ask a question
Yeah,
with
sure.
everybody? If you could pick a crest, which would you pick?
Well, like, which crest do you like the most, or which crest do you
Like-
think you'd be?
I think you'll be like if you ever received a crest. What do you think? Like, oh yeah, like it makes sense. Like you would have.
Okay, I was
received it.
I was gonna go and just say knowledge that way I can get Tentomon. And I just want Tentomon as my friend. I'll have to think about it. Let me pull up the crest while you two more talk.
I know them all by heart, dude. I know them all by heart.
Yeah, I know.
There's courage, friendship, love, sincerity, reliability, which was actually honesty in the original.
Oh.
In the Japanese, it's honesty. That's why that episode with Cody is kind of weird, where he gets his crest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hope, light. I think that's all. Yeah.
Kindness.
Oh yeah, technically kindness.
Yeah.
Because Ken had that.
Probably friendship, I guess. If I had to pick one that signifies me, the one I'd want is probably courage, though.
Yeah.
I think that's probably most people's answer. Though.
Yeah.
I think I would be friendship, honestly.
Well, I'm gonna twist it a little bit. I'm gonna say Nessa would probably definitely be like hope or light.
Oh.
I-
Oh, that's what I forgot. I forgot light.
Oh yeah, you're like.
Yeah.
That's right. I knew there was one, but I couldn't remember.
But for myself,
Just get that Kabuterimon. You know you
yeah.
want.
No, I think
Let's
he,
do it.
I think he'd be hope. I'm gonna go with hope.
No. No, give me. I'll just stick friendship like everyone we'll all share it. I'll get it on the weekends. You can get it on Monday, Tuesday. You can get Wednesday, Thursday. What about you, Renee?
I'm not too sure, actually. I don't know. I want to say courage, but I don't know. I think hope would probably be that one. I would get hope. Yeah.
I remember I tried to come up with crests for the other three, and I basically tried to figure out, okay, if you combine like the two crests that they kind of have through the eggs, it's like, okay, what would that be? I remember like with Davis, I thought, okay, we're dealing with courage and friendship, and I kind of like justice, kind of.
I thought you
I
That
felt.
makes a little, yeah.
Yeah.
or you could just give him the stupid crest.
Yeah.
You don't got to give that to him. He already has that.
Oh.
Has that in a picture frame on his wall.
I mean, that's actually a series that we kind of skipped over. Do we want to talk about the O2 series?
It's a guilty pleasure. I know how
Yeah.
crap it is technically, but I
It's-
love my Vmon, so that's kind of.
I think the Spider Lady's kind of cool.
Oh, Aru Kenimon.
Yeah.
She's kind of cool. Like she had like a Jessie kind of thing going on. And I was like, I'm down with that.
Oh, yeah, they were like Team Rocket kind
Yeah,
of
they
thing.
were.
Yeah.
Her and Mummy Mom were like Jessie and James, and I
Yeah.
was like, you just need like.
I think the main thing with O2 is it had some really, really good ideas, but they did not execute them well at all.
Well,
Yeah.
there is a very interesting story behind the development of O2. Basically, what happened with O2 is they had two people at the top running the show. Usually, you have one head showrunner. O2 had two showrunners, and the problem there was that each of the showrunners wanted to take the show in a different direction. One of them wanted it to be more like the O1 series and go back to being kind of campy, silly kid stuff, and the other showrunner wanted it to be darker and more mature. The darker one actually ended up doing Tamers.
Right.
He was the head showrunner on Tamers, but that's why you get such a tonal whiplash between what's going on in certain episodes, and that is a big reason why various dark elements are brought up and then immediately dropped. Like the Dark Ocean is brought up and then that gets dropped. Daemon is brought up and then that gets dropped. TK's whole PTSD and hatred of darkness is brought up and then dropped. That is a big problem of why that show is so schizophrenic, is because you had two different people at the top dictating in which direction the thing should go.
I always thought it was also really weird when like near the end of O2, like something that bothered me as a kid was like near the end of O2 when the Digimon are invading their world and they have to go and take care of them and stuff. They get like really sad and like depressed whenever they had to take down a Digimon, and they all like start crying and stuff. And I was like, why are y'all depressed? And they're just gonna go. And then that's it. No big D. And I remember, like, remember in, like, the old show, they were just, like, kill Digimon left and right. They'd be like, whatever, bro. It's gotta happen.
Well, I remember it was kind of, if you killed a Digimon in the real world, they didn't reincarnate. They were dead.
Oh, okay.
If you killed them in the digital world, then they'd come back.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
come
as
back
an
as an
egg,
egg,
yeah.
and then... Okay, that was something that always bothered me as a kid. I was like, why are you crying about this? This is, like, no big D. You did this all the time earlier, TK.
Probably could have done a better job explaining that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And O2 unfortunately had a really big problem when it came to character development, because the only character who got like it's weird. It's like all of the character development was funneled into Ken, and nobody else got any.
Yeah.
And the epilogue was interesting.
Yeah.
How everybody ended up where and
A lot
who
of
ended up where,
Yeah.
and just it was something.
A lot of people don't like that epilogue, mainly because it just wraps everything up way too nicely.
To be fair, I actually did like it for a while. I didn't like how certain people ended up, but I actually do like it when I get to see, oh, this person's doing that and this person's doing this, and they all had kids and the kids had kids and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
I like that stuff, but I do know that that's a big thing especially about who ended up with who and who everyone's doing. But yeah,
that's another interesting thing with kind of some backstory to it is, all right, everybody obviously was just like, what the hell when it came to Sora and Matt. What's interesting, the backstory there is, in the O1 series, there actually were hints at that, but the problem was they were very steeped in Japanese wording. Like, Sora and Matt would kind of talk to each other, and they would use specific homonyms that in Japanese kind of hint at, oh, maybe there's something going on with these characters, maybe there's not. And unfortunately, that kind of just completely flew over the American translators' heads, because it's just like, what the hell's the difference between san and chan and, all these different. So it was subtle even in the Japanese version. The American translators did not understand it, did not catch it at all. So it ended up coming out of nowhere here, whereas in the Japanese it was very lightly hinted.
Because in 02, I think Ty was wishing Sora good luck with Matt. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I but in the dub, it's kind of implied like, oh, it's okay. Like,
I don't know how much Ty and Sora was a thing in the Japanese dub, because I have heard that they beefed that up in the American, because they're like, well, it was the 90s animation. They're like, well, we need a romance. Let's just ship the main guy and the main girl.
That's how romance works.
Yeah.
You really got mature, Ty.
but I think the ending for me that was like, I think it was so well done was Tamers.
Oh God, that ending.
Oh yeah.
Tamers
Make
was
me
just,
cry.
it was so emotional, because they're like, oh, we'll play again, Tocado, this and this. And you're just, oh my God, because they're leaving forever. and you feel so- oh my God, why do you got to do that?
Well, I mean, 01 series kind of had that too, where they
Yeah.
ride off on the train.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Jenna,
That was so
Jenna
sad.
that
even
was sad
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the hat flies off, and,
And then
goes
the
on
English dub
Palmon.
completely butchers it. Find out what happens in the next season.
Oh yeah, what's gonna happen?
But still, it was good.
And
but
Mimi's hat's just flying off like right there.
no, and then Palmon catches it, and she's wearing it, and it's sad as hell, and then
Oh.
yeah. But I guess we'll just move on for like the last bit. We'll just go and talk about the Try movies that have been going on. That
Well, first off, what movie is everybody up to here? Try.
I think we're up to the one where they get to the digital world.
Yeah, everything
That's
resets.
where
And then
everything's
Okay,
reset.
so have
Yeah,
you,
that was-
so that's it resets at the end of 3. Have you seen 4 where they're actually in the digital world?
Not yet.
not yet.
Oh, okay.
That's where we
I've
stopped. Yeah.
yeah, I've seen. Well, you should probably watch 4, because 3, oh my God, it's such a bummer. We're not gonna go over the entire plot of everything that goes into
No.
Try, because this is not the Crisis of Infinite podcast.
Did you have a chance to watch 4? I sent you the link.
I saw 4.
Okay.
The thing I actually really like about these, Renee, have you seen any of these or?
No, but you can go ahead and spoil. It's fine.
Well, no, we're not gonna.
Yeah,
go
we're just kind of gonna talk like.
You should definitely watch them.
No, I'm going to. It's just I hear mixed things about it, and then I haven't gotten around to seeing it yet. So.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, actually, really, I really wasn't interested in watching the Try movies. I remember seeing like GIFs about them all the time on Tumblr when the first one came out, and everyone's freaking out. I just didn't care until they actually started dubbing them, and they said they brought back a majority of the cast. It
Ty
wasn't.
especially. Yeah. I was really happy that he brought the main guy back.
Yeah, they brought Ty back. They brought like a good handful of everybody, but
They brought almost everyone back. The
Yeah.
only ones I think they didn't bring back was Matt, TK, and Kari,
And Joe.
and Joe.
It's
Yeah,
super
and Joe.
weird about TK because his actor is
Yes!
still in there.
Yes, that is the thing that confuses the hell out of me. It's like, literally, TK's actor is in there doing, I think, like, just
minor roles.
minor
Yeah.
roles. It's just like, why is he not
Oh,
voicing
I think
TK?
he's the teacher, isn't he?
Is he?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think because I was confused about it. I was just like, wait, he's who? And then I looked it up.
Yeah.
I think he's the teacher in the lab coat.
Frickin' Johnny Young
It's-
Bosch.
It's just confusing because I think the voice actors of the original Matt and Joe said we weren't really asked to come back.
Yeah, same with
So
I
it
think
was-
same with Kari too.
Yeah.
That-
Well, no, actually, I think she was busy with.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I know Kari's voice actress is still. Okay, off topic, really quick. Was anybody else really freaking confused in Tamers when you heard Kari's voice come out of the
my
teacher?
and yeah.
Given the
I remember.
epilogue
And
of 02?
I thought that was her. Oh my god.
Yeah, I thought that was
Yeah.
her the whole time.
Especially because the teacher looks like Kari.
Yes. Thank you. My God.
Yeah, I remember that very well. I was like, oh, it's that teacher's car. She's going to come back and then shoot Rosetta Stones at everybody.
I was thinking, like, when I was watching those early episodes, I'm like, okay, is this gonna tie in where like Kari's gonna be kind of like the mentor to these new kids? And I was
Yeah.
waiting for that to happen for so long.
But yeah, they got a good chunk of the old voice actors back, which you guys were there when I watched the first dub movie. And
I think the only one I genuinely dislike would probably be Vic Mignogna as Matt.
yeah,
Yeah.
I really like that.
Well,
that's because he only has one voice.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
here's the thing. For as much as I wish that they had brought the original TK and Kari back, at least the replacement voice actors are trying to imitate the originals, and they do a decent job. But with Matt, it's obvious. It's just like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
Joe, Robbie, what's his name?
Oh, Robbie Damon.
He actually surprised me as Joe. He actually wasn't bad. He actually
Yeah.
was really good.
To be
So,
fair, I
yeah.
didn't even know that wasn't the original Joe. I thought it was. But then again,
Yeah.
like in the first few movies, Joe doesn't really do too much, so.
Yeah.
I might have been too distracted by how bad Matt sounded, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hearing those old voices, it's actually kind of a weird whiplash, especially in the first one, because dubbing's come a long way since '98.
Right.
Oh,
So-
I've heard stories about the original dub for Digimon 1. Like, one of the really quick things is that they mistranslated a Biomon's name. It's supposed to be pronounced with a P at the beginning, like Piomon, but they mistranslated the P as a B due to the symbols looking so similar. So, like, funny story is Sora's voice actress came back for Tai, and she's looking over the script, and they had translated it correctly, and so she's looking at Piomon's name, and she's like, no, I remember this being Biomon.
But yeah, it's that.
Which
and,
might be better in
Yeah.
terms of English.
Yeah. But I just remember just like, because you have these like goofy '90s like voices coming out of Ty and Izzy and so, everyone else, and then you have like the new characters who have these like very professional sounding voices that like dubbing has changed so much that you could like kind of like see it there. It's like black and white, but I don't mind because I'm hearing the old voices, and like it
Yeah.
was legit emotional for me. I remember Brian was like watching me in theaters, and like the minute Tentomon said anything, I was just like, "It's my baby. That's his voice. That's what I remember.
It's my son."
It's my son." And
I know it was so emotional when we went to the theater and I dressed up as Ty.
that was
I was so into it, like Digimon, and then when we hear the voices that we grew up with and stuff, it just hits.
I think it sort of
like,
hit me
yeah.
when Agumon started talking.
Yeah.
I think it hit when that first trailer dropped for the English dub, and
Yeah.
it's Ty doing the voiceover, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I haven't heard you in fucking a decade.
Yeah, especially because Ty's voice actor did like retire for a little while.
Yeah.
Voice acting. He was he wanted his last role to be Tetsuko from Akira, since they were doing the redub of Akira.
Oh yeah. He really loves that role from what I.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
literally that was his dream role, because
Yeah.
when he was in college, he used to watch Akira, and they used to watch the really bad dub that where everyone like for you Homestar Runner fans out there, if you ever want to go and know where Stinko Man came from, that's pretty much the old Akira dub. Literally everybody sounds like they're from 20XD6, and they're just like, "What are you doing, Tetsuko?" And like that's how everyone sounds.
I think Kaneda is voiced by Leo from Ninja Turtles.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay.
But yeah, so first one is, they're all really, really good. The third one though is it's very much it breaks your heart in a million pieces,
Yeah.
which really hurts. And I hate you, Brian, for sending it to me.
It's especially heartbreaking for him because it's an Izzy and Tentomon focused one.
Yeah, it's that's actually some, they have like it's 6 movies in total, right?
Yeah, the format kind of follows like generally 2 characters get the spotlight in each one. Like the first one is Matt and Ty, the second one is Mimi and Joe, the third one is TK and Izzy. The fourth one is mainly Sora. The fifth one they focus on the new character, and then the sixth one kinda focuses on Kari, I guess. That's, like I said, I'm not going to try and give spoilers. Unfortunately, TK and Kari kind of get the short stick when it comes to character development.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Like, you've seen 3, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you know how TK kind of comes up short because his is more just an emotional moment rather than an actual character developing moment?
Right.
Yeah.
Kari kind of gets that same treatment.
Oh, gotcha.
Where she gets like an emotional. She actually has a blue screen,
Oh.
Oh, wow.
but she kind of gets that same emotional crushing moment, but she doesn't actually get a character developing moment. And unfortunately, she really doesn't do anything throughout the series.
Yeah,
it's
it's a little
She
sad, but
she really
Yeah.
drew the short stick on really getting to do stuff.
Because
She was so
try.
interesting in the original because she was so different, like a little bit when she was a child and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even how this one Digimon took over her body and started talking as her and stuff like it. And
That's
then the
the-
Dark Ocean, and then just like there's nothing they really did with her. Like,
No, unfortunately, that homeostasis thing is about the most she gets.
yeah, but yeah, sadly outside, but I still recommend watching it, especially if you did grow up with it. Just definitely check out the first couple. If you're ready for 3 to just break your heart into a million pieces, go watch 3. Even like it's funny in the they at the beginning of every movie, like Ty's voice actor, just like the old show, would go and give you a
and
recap.
Yeah.
He'd recap all the movies, and when it gets to 3, he's just every time he's just like, I'm sorry, I'm allergic to sadness.
I will say the one thing that kind of bothered me about the English dub is that they didn't get back the original Digimon theme song. They made it this really
I kind of
weird, where they just say the word Digimon a lot.
Yeah.
I actually kind of dig it just because it's like a weird mix of the old and new.
I'm wondering if maybe that was just a licensing thing.
probably
or...
was.
It probably was, but at the same time, I do like it a lot just because it does like give you that feel of, it's not the old song. It's something you kind of know, and it's something a little new, and that's kind of what they were trying to go for. And you know what? I do give these movies a lot of credit though, because I know Pokemon had their anniversary movie too, and they didn't bring back anyone, and they didn't bring back any of the old cast, and the story was completely butchered from like what they were originally doing, and
Didn't they try and tie the first part of the story into where they were at that point with Sun and Moon?
I don't really know too much about it. I mostly just dropped interest when I just saw that they were having like, it's Gen 1, but there's a Piplup and an Incineroar, and I was like, that's not what I want.
There's no Misty or Brock.
No Misty
Yeah.
Brock, and there's no Team Rocket, and I'm like, why am I even gonna try
Then
to
you
watch
might
this?
as well not even make it that.
Yeah. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Even had like an amazing anniversary movie.
I
I
love
love
yeah.
that
Yeah.
That-
Wasn't it that they didn't get Dan Green to come back? Because I remember Yami Yugi literally says nothing.
No, they
When
do.
he
No,
appears.
Dan
He's
Green's in it.
He's Yugi because he's both Yugi and Yami Yugi.
Okay, because that was really weird because Yami Yugi shows up at the very end, but he literally says nothing. It's just like, where's my Yami Yugi voice? Where's my deep Dan Green?
Oh,
I mean, I don't want to get too much into it because that's a Yu-Gi-Oh discussion. Maybe if you guys ever do a Yu-Gi-Oh discussion, we can.
I'd be
talk
happy
about
to do that.
But
oh no, Niren's got to be here for that one.
I have opinions.
Can I join
about
that
We'll have to go and schedule first. First we get Niren, then I
Okay,
pick whoever
alright.
else is showing up.
I did like the opening theme because it felt very much like they were trying to channel the Digimon rap from the
Yeah.
first movie.
Oh, okay,
And it's just like I appreciate that that effort where they didn't try to clean it up and modernize it. They were actually like, this is a property from the 90s. Let's actually kind of make it a little bit 90s.
Yeah, that's mainly.
Let's
the
be real, kids probably aren't going to watch it. It's probably going to be a bunch of grown-ass adults going into the theater.
I guess to me, because it just, at least the original had more lyrics to it. I guess what I didn't really like it too much because they kept saying the word. I appreciated that they was mixed, but I wish they would have more lyrics. Maybe a lyric, to.
I think that's
the
what throws
original
me
song.
off with it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can appreciate the effort. I don't
Yeah.
think it's a very good song, but I appreciate the effort. I do appreciate the effort.
Yeah, it's more. I would never put that on my phone or any device that plays music, but it's nice that it's there, and it's like the sentiment is appreciated from me, especially since they're trying to evoke these feelings with these old voice actors and all these people coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah. So as we're coming into the end of our show, just anyone want to go and just spitball any ideas? Renee, you want to go and discuss anything? You want?
No, I'm good.
I know that you've been a little bit quiet for the games.
No, I just go as far as just watching the shows and stuff like that. But when it, if anything, recently I have been back into a Digimon craze, so I've been wanting the action figures and stuff, but they're like over $100.
Like I said, there's
the good ones at least.
That Omnimon one though, it looks really good,
Yeah.
and Niran has it, and I look at it every time, and he's like, "Bruh, and you can just you should have got it when it was like 70." I'm like, I know, but.
I remember when I was a
There's
kid,
a-
I had it was like an Omnimon toy, and it came with a card from that Digimon card game.
Oh yeah.
But it was the Japanese card for Omnimon, and I always thought that was the coolest thing.
The art on those cards were actually really good.
Oh, I love that art.
I didn't really get too much into the cards, but I remember the cards were just so weird. I remember they were a big thing in Tamers at the very beginning, and then they just dropped.
Yeah,
that.
they dropped it.
Honestly, I have no idea how to play that card game, but I
Oh,
like
yeah.
the
Neither
art.
do I, but the art was really good.
It's like Pokemon cards. Nobody knows how to play it. You just look at it and you're just like, oh, these are pretty pictures.
You're just like,
They're
"That's
pretty pictures. Someone needs to go and do a YouTube video where they go and make them full arts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Put some of those on the wall.
Yeah. So, yeah. I guess if anyone else, you had something, Brian?
Well, I'm the only one here who has actually watched all 6 movies, and I'll just say
Oh, yeah.
2 things. One, if you're gonna watch the 6th movie, watch it in theaters because it takes place entirely at night, and good luck seeing anything on a computer screen. Because I tried watching on my computer and I couldn't see a dang thing. So, see that one in theaters. And number 2, unfortunately, the movies kind of go downhill about, I would say, halfway through the 4th one, because the 4th one is they're kind of interacting with their.
Yeah.
The 4th one is they're interacting with their Digimon again, and it's very emotional, a lot like 3. But once the danger starts up again, it kind of goes downhill, and the main reason is that from 4.5 onward, it's very much just spinning its wheels. It hits both an emotional and a action high point at the end of 3, and then all of the battles after that just feel like it's kind of like with the Royal Knights thing. It just feels like we're doing the same thing again.
Like it didn't need to be 6 movies; they could have condensed it.
Yeah, you could have ended it at the halfway point of 4, and it would have been fine. But it kind of just meanders along.
I'm actually really curious on this because when I was watching 4, the ending bits, first off, there was that one part that really infuriated me that I always tell you about. I'm like, why did they literally say, we gotta do this, and then they don't do that, and then everything goes wrong because of that. But the other thing, the kind of cliffhanger thing at the very end, I actually was very intrigued on that. But,
Yeah, you're right. 4 does end on a good cliffhanger, but at the same time, it's kind of the same cliffhanger, and from there, it's like we're just spinning our wheels.
Okay, because I actually was very much interested, but
And there's gonna be an OVA, isn't there? That they announced. For
Yeah,
the
it has
Yeah.
new design from the original designer. The only thing I don't like about it is that they kind of didn't tan Ty.
Ty
Doesn't look like he doesn't have the same skin color. I didn't even know who he was at first until
Ty got a haircut.
I was like,
pulled a
what
reverse
happened
Trump.
to him? So I was like, I don't know what happened there, but I am curious where they go with that.
Yeah, they're basically going to do an OVA series that takes place, I think, another 5 years in the future, and they're in their early 20s. And Ty got a haircut. Oh, no.
I know.
is this how we get to learn how Matt became an astronaut and Ty became like a...
From a rock star to an astronaut.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest one out of all of those endings. A lot of them made sense.
Yeah.
Matt was just like, you go from being in a up-and-coming boy band to an astronaut. What?
Doesn't he mention in the movies that he's going to to aim for the stars or something?
Well, it's
Or,
That's a very bad way
or
to
like, I
allude
guess
to
you're
it.
trying,
though.
but like, yeah. It's
That's like
weird.
saying I like cows, and then you run a burger chain.
I mean, if they went from like a rock star to like he's a movie star or something,
I
that would
always
make
thought-
sense.
Model,
I always thought the perfect job for him would have been television producer because he's in the rock industry, so that's, kind of in that same field. And plus his dad runs a TV
yeah,
studio.
Exactly.
Right.
So him getting somehow into being like some kind of entertainment producer would have been perfect.
Yeah. Though I did like that Ty ends up as like the
An ambassador,
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
cool.
that was really cool.
that's really cool and interesting, and that Davis like runs a ramen shop.
That came out of nowhere.
I know he's gonna
Where
run
the
around
hell
with
did
his
that
car.
come?
Or like,
Literally, the last few episodes when they're saying, "Oh, like, what are your dreams? What do you want to do?" And then he says that, it's just like, okay, so he does that.
Well, I mean, that's what I was getting into.
Good for you, boy.
I thought he was gonna play like soccer because they kept playing it. Like I thought one
Yeah.
of them would play soccer. Anybody from the series because they kept showing it, but nobody plays soccer.
I mean, that's kind of what I got
Matt's
into.
playing soccer in space.
Yeah, oh, God. He would. You know he would.
You can't block this shot, Ty.
I mean, that's what I was kind of getting into about O2 is that they kind of try and cram all the character development in at literally the very end.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the only character who gets character development in O2 other than Ken would be Cody because he has that whole character arc with his dad.
Right.
Yeah.
So he gets some decent character development, but everybody else is just like,
Oh yeah.
They're just kind of there.
Yeah.
Poor Hawkmon.
Oh, I
Armadillo.
know. Yeah.
Let's try to end the show on something a little lighter, though. So who is? We start off with your favorite Digimon. So let's just go around and say our goodbyes, and you can tell me who your favorite protagonist was.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say who's your least favorite.
I
Let's
know,
end on a
I thought you were going to say
positive
that.
No, I said we're ending on a positive note. All right, so we'll just reverse order, Renee.
Hi. So long, guys. My name's Renee. My favorite protagonist was Devimon. I like Devimon.
All right.
Hi, my name's Vanessa, and my favorite protagonist. It's really hard for me to pick. It's really like a tie between. It's between Tai and Takato. They're really. I love their development in both of the series and how they grow, and I felt a good connection with them.
Hi, my name is Josh, and my favorite protagonist, probably Takato. If I had to pick someone from 01, I think Izzy actually would probably be my favorite protagonist from 01.
I'm Shadow. I mean, for nostalgia's sake, my favorite protagonist would be TK because I like seeing how he grows from a little kid into capable. But I mean, I would have to say I think the better one and the one I think had a much better story would probably be Ken because I think that is one of the best examples of how you do this character going from being a, sadistic, almost unrepentant villain to an interesting, likable character. He has, I think, one of the best developments in all of Digimon.
I like how just like a teenager, Ken's original Digimon is just a mash of just other Digimon.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
My original Digimon Do Not Steal.
Yeah,
original Digimon.
original Digimon Do Not Steal.
And this has been the Creepo Depot. My favorite protagonist is obviously Izzy. Love Izzy. Love Tentomon. Everything's just great about it. I would like to thank everybody for being on the show. I'd like to thank you, listener, for taking a listen to us rambling. And, so see you next week. We'll have another show. Who knows what's going on. All right, kill it, Renee.